Hi again. Okay, so time for English now. Okay, so you'll again write your date and your skill in your catch-up book. And today's SPAG skill is to read through the passage and identify the nouns, adjectives, verbs and adverbs. Okay, so pause the video, underline your date and your SPAG, and then come back to me when you're ready to move on. Okay, so our SPAG skill today then, so it was identify nouns, adjectives, verbs and adverbs. So we're going to read through the short passage and then we're going to sort the words into the correct word class. So we've got nouns, adjectives, verbs and adverbs. Okay, talk to somebody around you if you can and explain to them what each of these word classes are. Can you give an example of each of the words? Okay, so a noun is a person, a place or a thing. An adjective is a describing word. Verbs are action words. And adverbs are what describe the verb. So they say how the action is being done. So let's have a look then. So I'm going to read the passage with you. So Luke anxiously gazed at the two golden suns as they slowly sank beneath the orange glow of the horizon. The coarse sand quickly swirled around his feet, and he knew it was time to return to the safety of his small home. Okay, so when we're looking at these words, so Luke, where's Luke going to go? So Luke anxiously gazed at the two golden suns. Hello again. Okay, so time for English now. So we have got the date and the skill, which you need to write down again, please, and underline. Obviously, the date is still the same. And your SPAG skill is to read through the passage and identify the nouns, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs. Okay, so if you write those down and underline them, pause the video whilst you do so, and then come back when you're ready to move on. Okay, so our SPAG skill today then is to sort the words from the passage into the word classes. So let's just recap. If there's somebody around you can speak to, then fantastic. Have a quick discussion about what you think a noun, an adjective, a verb and an adverb is. See if you can remember. Okay, if not, have a quick think to yourself about it and see if you can think of some examples. Okay. Super. So a noun is a person, place or thing. And then we've got an adjective, which is a describing word. Verbs are the action words. And the adverbs tell us how the action was being done. Now, adverbs are quite easy to spot most of the time because they usually end in a certain two letters. Do you remember which two letters they usually end in? Hopefully you're saying it's L-Y. So we've got Luke anxiously gazed. So it's telling us the verb is gazed, and it's telling us how he gazed. He gazed anxiously, so anxiously would be the adverb. So I'll read the passage with you. So it's Luke anxiously gazed at the two golden suns as they slowly sank beneath the orange glow of the horizon. The coarse sand quickly swirled around his feet, and he knew it was time to return to the safety of his small home. Okay, so quickly pause the video. Okay. See if you can complete the words into their word class columns. Okay, and then come back when you're ready. Excellent. So hopefully you would have written these nouns down, which you've got suns, horizon, sand, feet and home. You've also got two abstract nouns there. Okay, so you've got safety. So we can't see safety, okay, and the time. So we can't see time if a time is passing by. So they're abstract nouns. Okay, we've also got the adjectives, which is the golden. So I think it described the golden sand. The orange horizon. Oh, it was the coarse sand and small. You've got the verbs, which is gazed, and the adverb anxiously, which we spoke about before. The other verbs which you may have found is sank, glow, swirled, return. And then the other adverbs were slowly and quickly. Great job. Okay, so we're going to start off our learning journey this term by visiting a planet that is far from our own. Okay, so your skill for your English lesson is to describe a place using the 5 senses. Now, on the school website there is a resource for you, okay, which will help you when you're watching the video to jot your 5 senses. Okay, it is on there, and it's just the only resource for English today. So that's the one. If you can print it, then excellent. If not, you can. I'm pretty sure it's an editable version, so you should be able to just complete it on your computer. Okay, but it will obviously be easier if you can write it as you're watching the video. Okay. So we're going to start off learning journey this term by visiting a planet that is far from our own, Tatooine. Our mission is to write a description of the planet for an entry into a new legendary planet travel guide. We need to research the history, geography and the culture of this planet so as to inform anyone who might want to visit it. Okay. If you're around somebody, that's great, then have a quick chat with them. What would you want to know about before visiting a country for the first time? If you're by yourself, you can jot some notes down, or you can just think about it. If you was about to visit a country for the first time, what would you want to know before you went? Okay. So for example, if I was going to visit a country the first time, the first thing I would want to know is the weather, the climate, because I don't like the cold at all. So if I was going somewhere cold, I'd have to take really, really warm clothes. But I love the sun. So I would definitely be excited and want to know if it is going to be a hot country. So what kind of things would you want to know? Perhaps you want to know about the currency or the food, if you're a fussy eater perhaps, and you think, oh, I might not like the food. So write some things down or have a quick talk to your partner. Pause the video and then come back when you're ready. Okay. So before we embark on our mission to Tatooine, we're going to create an example page about a place closer to home. We're going to visit Japan and create a snapshot view of 2 of its cities, Kyoto and Tokyo. We're going to compare both places by using our senses and discuss the features of this unfamiliar landscape. Okay, so we're going to use our 5 senses. Obviously, we're going to look at all the things we can see, what we can hear, what we can smell, what we can taste, and what we can touch. Okay. As you explore these locations, make notes or perhaps questions around your experience, both day and night. Okay, so don't forget this is where you need your resource handy, okay? And the resource has got some columns and some rows on there. Okay, and it's got different subjects, so different topics. We've got geology and features of the landscape. So geology is like study of the earth, and features of the landscape. So what does the landscape look, smell, feel like? Okay, obviously you don't know, but you can interpret that from the video. You've got the climate, so the weather. What would the weather be like? History and traditions, architecture and buildings, people and language, food and drink, transport and things to do. Okay, so you can write down these things as you listen to the video.
お出口は左側です。The next station is Shinjuku. The doors on the left side will open.
Okay, so that was a really thought-provoking video, wasn't it? So we've got lots of different things. I've got lots of things written down. Hopefully you had have the same. Okay. So what did you find out about this country? Okay, so if there's somebody around you, then tell them everything that you have just written down. Tell them what you have just learnt about Kyoto and Tokyo. So a fun fact is that Kyoto was the former capital of Japan. Okay, and their names are actually an anagram of each other. So they're both spelled with the same amount of letters and the same number of letters. Okay, so yeah, so have a quick chat to somebody around you. If there's nobody there, then you can either watch the video again, so you can increase the amount of notes you have, or you can just think to yourself about what it would be like to live there. Have you got something for all of your senses? Okay, so we can now start to organise our information under subheadings. Okay, so using your frame, start to build a written picture of your experiences. So you could think about your senses. So you could taste the octopus in the market. I noticed that Kyoto compared to Tokyo was a really serene place. The architecture, there was lots of wooden houses with grey roof tiles. Okay, and they were like peaked. There were temples and shrines. I don't know if you noticed, but the men that were all wearing the same clothing had really big wooden shoes, clog-like. There's lots of things to walk around and see. There were streams and mountains and lots of large like bamboo-type trees. And then in Tokyo, it was completely different. Tokyo was really touristy. There was McDonald's, I'm sure you've probably noticed. There were market stalls, they were selling octopus. And there was much more transport. There were trains and cars and vans, bikes, taxis. What was really interesting was that I noticed in the high street, there were like the grabber machines that you get. Just as you're walking down the street, you can just stop and play a grabber machine. Okay, that was completely opposite to what you could find in Kyoto. Okay, so think about the things that you've got written down. How could you make those into sentences using your senses? Okay, so you might want to say, I can hear streams. Okay, or you might want to say, I can smell. I can smell chips from McDonald's in the bustling high street. Okay, so there's lots of things. You could be writing about everything you've just got written down, so you can extend those words with your senses. Tell me what you can hear, smell, taste, touch, and see. Okay, so we're going to write a brief entry page for our Lonely Planet Guide to Japan. So we're just going to write a brief introduction today, okay, just a paragraph. Okay, so we're going to have a quick look at this together. You might want to make some more notes to help you with your introduction. Okay, so let's have a look. So you must describe a place using your 5 senses, okay? You should make notes to work from. You could use interesting adjectives: tranquil, bustling, vibrant. I mentioned that Kyoto was serene. Okay. You might want to include advice for the traveller. So this is just a brief introduction, and we'll look at this quick guide to Japan together, Japan facts. Okay, so here is the travel guide for Japan, the Japan facts. So we've got some really interesting facts here. So these were chosen by children and researched for children, just for children. Okay, so we can see the population is 126.5 million people. That's the amount of people that live in Japan. And we can see that the capital is Tokyo, which we've already mentioned. Okay, and if we go down, we can see that the religions, so the majority of people who live in Japan are Buddhist or Shintoists. And the life expectancy there is 86 years, so that is the average age that people live to. So the currencies, they're not in pounds like us or euros, okay? They're yen, so you may not have heard of yens. That's their currency. So if they buy something, it might be 10 yens rather than £10 or €10. And then we've got further down, okay, so it shows us that Japan is an island, and Japan's actually made up of 4 islands, okay, so we can see them here. I wonder if you can actually spot Tokyo and Kyoto, the 2 cities that we've been speaking about. Okay, so Tokyo is quite clear here, and Kyoto is snuck away down here, okay, a little bit trickier to see. Okay, so the biggest cities in Japan are Tokyo, Yokohama, Osaka and Nagoya. Can you spot those on the map? So we've got Tokyo, which we spoke about, capital, and we've got Yokohama here, and then we've got Osaka down here, and then we've got Nagoya. The highest mountain in Japan is Mount Fuji, which is a sleeping volcano. Okay, that hasn't erupted since 1707, a long time ago. And Japan itself lies on the Pacific Ring of Fire, which is a chain of volcanoes which are responsible for the most dramatic volcano outbreaks and tsunamis in the recent years. Interestingly, in Japan there are more than 108 active volcanoes. That's a lot. And Japan actually holds the record for the most earthquakes in the world every year. That's a really interesting fact. Okay, so a flight from London takes around 13 hours to get to Japan, Tokyo in particular. And they've got some tourist attractions, okay, and places of interest in Japan. So in Tokyo you've got a Disneyland. In Kyoto you can see a lot of historic sites, such as temples and the famous Golden Pavilion. In Osaka, you've got like Universal Studios, which some of you who may have been to America may know about. And then you've got lots of different places to visit on the other islands. Okay, there are so many different facts on here for you. Okay, so feel free to go back, have a look through, to find more facts about what you can include for your introduction, for your travel guide on Japan. Okay, obviously this is a good one. There was a lot of inscriptions on the architecture, especially in Kyoto, that I noticed. Okay, this is the Japanese language, so they don't have words like we do, but they use images and drawings to communicate, and they're symbols. It would be very difficult to understand, wouldn't it? School children still have to wear their school uniform. Okay, so there's lots of facts there about food, famous people, the economy, animals. So much to look for. Okay, so do go back and have another look at this website if you can, especially if you want to include more notes. But I'm pretty sure you've got enough notes now to write your brief introduction, your brief entry page for our Lonely Planet Guide to Japan. So remembering you must describe a place using the 5 senses. You've got your fact file note sheet, okay, that you made your notes from, so you should have plenty of notes, and really try to think of those adjectives. So you could use tranquil, bustling, vibrant, serene. Okay, that's lots of adjectives you can use. Okay. So just a quick final thought then before we finish. Is there anything else that we can include, that you can include perhaps in your travel guide that we haven't spoken about or we've missed for our information? Okay, perhaps you know a really good fact about Japan. Perhaps you've been to Japan and you might want to enlighten us. Okay, so you include anything you like in your brief introduction, even if we haven't mentioned it, okay, and you know it's accurate, then feel free to include it. Okay, good luck, enjoy your writing and your finding out about Japan. Bye.